Welcome to the GCP Platform and Cloud Engineering Practice Series from the AI Mock Interviewer Question Bank. GCP Platform and Cloud Engineering Part 1. This episode has 13 questions. For each question, take a moment to think through your own answer before I share a strong approach. Question 1. GKE or Kubernetes? PDB design. How would you use pod disruption budgets during node upgrades, cluster autoscaling, and planned maintenance? Here's a strong way to approach it. Set a pod disruption budget for every workload, specifying the minimum number of replicas that must remain available during voluntary disruptions, so node upgrades, cluster autoscaler scale downs, and planned maintenance all respect that minimum rather than potentially draining too many replicas of the same service simultaneously. Size the PDB based on the service's actual availability requirement, e.g. min available of 50% or more for critical services, and test that upgrades genuinely respect it by watching pod counts during a real maintenance window. Nice. Let's continue. Question 2. Terraform or IAC? Stateful Kubernetes workloads. When would you avoid running stateful workloads on GKE? And if you must run them, how would you design storage, backup, upgrades, and recovery? Here's a strong way to approach it. Avoid running genuinely critical, high-throughput stateful systems, primary production databases on Kubernetes when a managed service, Cloud SQL, AlloyDB, meets the need with far less operational burden. If you must run stateful workloads on GKE, caches, message brokers, smaller databases, use stateful sets with persistent volume claims backed by regional persistent disks for durability. Implement application-aware backup, not just disk snapshots, with tested restore procedures, and plan node or cluster upgrades carefully since stateful pods can't simply be rescheduled anywhere without storage locality considerations. Great. Moving on. Question 3. SRE or reliability? On-call maturity. How would you improve an on-call rotation that has too many alerts, poor runbooks, and slow escalation? Here's a strong way to approach it. Start by cutting alert volume aggressively based on which alerts actually led to action historically. Rebuild remaining alerts around slow burn rate with clear ownership, and write runbooks from real past incidents rather than generic templates. Fix slow escalation by defining clear escalation timeouts and paths. Who gets paged next if the primary doesn't acknowledge within n minutes, and rehearsing the escalation path so it's not being discovered for the first time during a real incident. Alright, next question. Question 4. Observability. GPU cost control. GPU workloads are underutilized and expensive. How would you improve scheduling, quotas, sharing, and monitoring? Here's a strong way to approach it. Monitor actual GPU utilization, not just allocation, to find workloads reserving GPUs they don't fully use, and consider GPU sharing or time slicing or MIG, multi-instance GPU. Partitioning so multiple smaller workloads can share a single physical GPU instead of each requiring a dedicated one. Set per team GPU quotas to prevent over-provisioning. Use spot or preemptible GPU nodes for fault-tolerant workloads to cut costs significantly. And build utilization dashboards visible to teams so cost accountability drives more efficient usage over time. Let's keep going. Question 5. Security or DevSecOps? RBAC. How would you design Kubernetes RBAC for platform, application, security, and CI or CD teams in a shared GKE environment? Here's a strong way to approach it. Scope RBAC by both namespace and role. Platform team gets cluster admin level access for cluster-wide resources. Application teams get namespace scoped edit access limited to their own namespaces. Security teams get read-only cluster-wide access plus write access to security-relevant resources. Network policies, pod security policies, for review purposes, and CI or CD service accounts get narrowly scoped. Namespace-limited deploy permissions rather than broad access. Use groups, via GCP IAM or an external identity provider, rather than individual bindings so access changes with team membership automatically. On to the next one. Question 6. MLOps or AI infra. Inference optimization. How would you improve model latency and throughput using batching, autoscaling, model format optimization, GPU use, or caching? Here's a strong way to approach it. Batch multiple inference requests together where latency tolerance allows, since GPUs achieve much better throughput per request when processing batches rather than one at a time, and use a serving framework, VLLM, TensorFlow serving, Triton that implements this automatically. Optimize the model format, quantization, ONNX or TensorRT conversion, to reduce compute per inference, autoscale based on queue depth or GPU utilization rather than just CPU, and cache responses for repeated or common queries where the use case tolerates it. Good. Here's another one. Question 7. GKE or Kubernetes? Blue-green deployment. When would you choose blue-green over canary? And what GCP or GKE components would you use? Here's a strong way to approach it. Choose blue-green when you need an instant, all-or-nothing cutover with the simplest possible rollback. Just switch traffic back, which suits changes where partial traffic canary testing isn't practical or where the risk profile favors full validation on a complete parallel environment before any real traffic hits it. Implemented on GKE with 2 full deployments, blue and green, behind a service or load balancer, switching the selector or backend to cut traffic over, or use Cloud Deploy's built-in blue-green rollout strategy for a managed version of the same pattern. Nice. Let's continue. Question 8. Terraform or IAC? SDK automation. Compare using Terraform, Cloud, REST APIs, and Python SDKs for platform automation. When would you choose each? Here's a strong way to approach it. Terraform is the right default for declarative, idempotent infrastructure provisioning that needs state tracking and drift detection. Cloud CLI is best for quick one-off operational tasks and scripting simple sequences. REST APIs give the most control and are the right choice when building a custom platform or automation layer that needs fine-grained handling of responses and errors. Python SDKs sit between Cloud and raw REST. Use them when building more substantial automation tools that need programmatic logic, conditionals, loops, integration with other systems beyond what a shell script comfortably handles. Great. Moving on. Question 9. GCP services. Cloud Run incident. A Cloud Run service has cold start latency and failed requests after a traffic spike. How would you debug concurrency, min instances, CPU allocation, revisions, and downstream limits? Here's a strong way to approach it. Check whether min instances is set to 0, causing cold starts on every scale up from idle, and consider setting a small minimum for latency-sensitive services, and verify the concurrency setting matches what the application can actually handle per instance without resource contention. Check if CPU allocation is set to CPU only during requests versus always allocated, which affects background work and startup behavior, and verify downstream dependencies. Databases, APIs, have enough capacity to handle the scaled-up Cloud Run instance count without becoming the new bottleneck. Alright, next question. Question 10. SRE or reliability. GKE scheduling. A deployment is pending because pods cannot be scheduled. How would you debug requests, limits, node capacity, taints, affinities, quotas, and cluster autoscaler? Here's a strong way to approach it. Run kubectl describe pod to see the exact scheduling failure reason, insufficient CPU or memory, no nodes matching affinity or taint requirements, quota exceeded, which usually tells you precisely what's blocking scheduling rather than requiring guesswork. Check whether resource requests are unreasonably high for available node capacity. Verify taints or tolerations and affinity rules aren't overly restrictive. Confirm namespace resource quotas aren't exhausted. And check whether cluster autoscaler is actually configured to add capacity. Correct node pool max size, in response to pending pods. Let's keep going. Question 11. Terraform or IAC? Terraform provider upgrades. How would you safely upgrade Terraform and Google provider versions across many workspaces? Here's a strong way to approach it. Upgrade in a low-risk workspace first and run a full plan to check for any unexpected diffs the new provider version introduces. Providers occasionally change default behavior or resource schemas. Reading the provider changelog for breaking changes before upgrading broadly. Roll the upgrade out incrementally across workspaces rather than all at once. Pin the new version explicitly once validated, and keep a rollback plan. Pin back to the previous version, ready in case a workspace shows unexpected plan diffs after upgrade. On to the next one. Question 12. Networking. Core DNS incident. Services in a cluster intermittently fail DNS resolution. How would you debug core DNS? Kubernetes metrics, network policies, and upstream DNS. Here's a strong way to approach it. Check core DNS pod health and resource usage first, since CPU throttling or OM underload is a common cause of intermittent DNS failures, and review core DNS metrics for query latency and error rate spikes correlated with the failure pattern. Verify no network policy is inadvertently blocking traffic to core DNS pods, and check whether upstream DNS, for external domain resolution, is slow or failing. Since core DNS forwards non-cluster queries upstream and a slow upstream resolver can manifest as intermittent cluster-wide DNS issues. Good. Here's another one. Question 13. Automation or platform? Bash versus Python. When is Bash acceptable for automation, and when should you rewrite it in Python or Go? Here's a strong way to approach it. Bash is fine for short, linear glue scripts, a few dozen lines chaining existing CLI tools together with minimal logic. Once a script needs real data structures, error handling beyond exit codes, unit testing, or grows past roughly 5,100 lines with conditional branches, it should be rewritten in Python, or Go for a distributed CLI, where the language provides better abstractions, testability, and maintainability than Bash's string-based, loosely typed model can offer. Nice. Let's continue. That wraps up this episode. Nice work practicing, and see you in the next one.